I'm very lucky to have had the brand new Osmo Pocket now for just over a month. And as with any first generation product, there are always a few things that you don't quite like. Let's run through them now. Hi, I'm Ash from DroningON, and as one of the very first testers of the brand new DJI Osmo Pocket, I've had lots of time to experiment and play with it. I am still on holiday in the beautiful Dubai, but I thought this would be a great opportunity to bring the Pocket with me, to shoot some more footage, and also to film this video. Now, I do call the Osmo Pocket a first generation device because yes, there have been other Osmo devices, but they're completely different to this. Completely different form factor and electronics inside it. So essentially this is a brand new product, and as with any first generation product, there are always going to be a few issues. In this video, we'll run through those negatives and we'll talk about what hopefully we'll see on the Osmo Pocket 2. If you want to buy the Osmo Pocket, click that link in the video description and it will take you directly to the DJI website. Anyway, enjoy the video, click that subscribe button and comment below whilst you're watching. So first of all, the big one, the microphone. There is no 3.5mm jack built into this device, which is a real shame. I would love to be able to plug my little lapel mic into this to get much crisper audio, but unfortunately, you can only do that with the accessory that you plug into the base. The Osmo Mobile does have two microphones, one on the front and one on the underneath. That's to cater for the forward and rear facing audio capture, but it doesn't quite give you the quality that you do get from a lapel mic. There is a 3.5mm adapter that you plug into the USB-C port on the underside. However, that means you can't then charge and use the device at the same time as using an external mic. The onboard microphones aren't that bad, and as you probably saw from our part 2 review, all of the audio was captured using the Osmo Pocket, and I think you'll agree it's really not that bad at all. And that does neatly bring me on to the next point, which is that USB-C port. I would much prefer to see it on the back so that you can then, with accessories connected, still sit the Osmo on a surface and charge it at the same time. For example, if you're doing an extended time lapse. Next is the camera. Now, when this Osmo Pocket was released, a lot expected to see the 1-inch sensor Hasselblad camera that we see on the Mavic 2. Unfortunately, it only has the 1/2-inch sensor, which, although it renders great results, for the professional market, they really do want that 1-inch sensor. I do suspect that we might see an Osmo Pocket Pro at some stage in the future, however, which will have that upgraded camera. Now, another minor gripe. When you're watching the footage back from your Osmo Pocket on the device itself, it has no speaker, so you can't hear the audio, which is a real shame. Adding a speaker to a device like this would not add a lot of weight. It also wouldn't really increase battery consumption, and I think it's essential really, just so that you can quickly, on the move, listen back to your videos to make sure that the audio is right. Now, you can connect the Osmo Pocket to your mobile phone to listen to the audio, but I prefer using the device on its own because of its portable factor. Now, another really minor one. When the Osmo is installed in its case, you can plug it in to charge it. However, the charging indicator is behind the little closure seal here, so you can't quite see it, meaning you have to keep opening that seal to check whether it's fully charged. I would like the charging indicator instead to be moved to the side, or this case slightly redesigned just so that you can see its charging status. Another really simple one, whenever you shoot a panorama on the Osmo Pocket, the panorama itself isn't rendered into one image until you connect the Osmo to the app. I'd love to see the panorama images instead processed on board on the Osmo Pocket. That just means that when you're on the move, it's in one piece and you can view it immediately on that screen. Now, during my testing, I also tested out FACETRACK, and it does work really well much of the time. However, at times you triple click that button to flip into selfie mode, and it does activate FACETRACK, but the framing is not quite perfect, and you have to manually adjust the pitch up and down. So you can see now I'm looking at the Osmo Pocket, and actually it's typically working quite well on this occasion, but it doesn't always work quite well. So I'd like to see DJI optimize the firmware a little bit so that the tracking is automatically centralizing whatever it's tracking, because it isn't quite perfect at the moment. Now, one of my favourite features of the Osmo Mobile 2 is hyperlapse, and unfortunately the Osmo Pocket doesn't have it yet. I really hope that DJI introduce that feature to this brilliant little device, because it's entirely capable of supporting it. I don't quite know why it's not there yet, unless it's simply Unless it's simply a case of trying to get it to market quickly. Hopefully it will arrive via a firmware update. When plugging the Osmo Pocket into your phone, you do have a large variety of frame rates available in each resolution. However, on the device itself, the menus only let you select 30 or 60 frames per second. I would like to see that extended so that you've got more flexibility when not using the phone and just using this little device on its own. Now, one of the comments that has arisen quite a lot, not just in my reviews but in others as well, is that the FOV on the Osmo Pocket is too small. Now remember that this camera is not being pitched as a vlogging camera. It's not designed specifically for that one purpose. It's a stabilized 4K camera designed to shoot lots of different scenarios. But if you are using it for vlogging, then yes, you do have to hold your arm quite a bit away in order for the camera not to be too close to your face. But I don't think it's unusable. Another consideration is that third-party manufacturers could easily sell lenses that you attach to the front of the Osmo Pocket to extend the FOV and add a little bit more of a fisheye or wide angle. However, as with the GoPro cameras, it is nice being able to set the FOV to narrow, wide or normal. Let's hope that perhaps the next generation of Osmo Pocket has the same. Now, another comment about panorama, it has 3x3 and 180, but it doesn't have a 360, and I would love to see this device being able to capture one of those lovely tiny planet images. I see no reason why not, because the movement of the gimbal is very wide, and so I think it's very capable of it. Now there's the point of DJI deciding to use these little attachments as a structural support when you plug this into your phone. There have been a lot of comments about this, and USB-C was only ever designed as a connectivity port. It wasn't ever really designed for structural purposes. My concern is that over time it will introduce strain onto the ports of your phone and also possibly onto the device port itself, so really not ideal. I have noticed already that some third-party vendors have designed supports to make this a little bit easier, but it would be nice if the device had some inbuilt capability for that. Also, whilst we're talking about these tiny little connectors that came with the Osmo Pocket, there has been a big outcry for micro USB to be supported. Even Apple are using USB-C, so it is clearly now a global standard. I think it's unlikely that DJI will release a micro USB add-on for this. Unfortunately, you may just have to upgrade your device. The next one is a simple nice to have. This has no zoom capability optically, but you could easily introduce a digital zoom via the app or even on the device itself. Using the screen of the Osmo Pocket, you can already tilt the gimbal up and down. Perhaps they could introduce some new functionality where you press and hold the little black button while sliding up and down, and that would then introduce the zoom in and out. Some ideas for DJI to consider at least. Now, another common comment has been the lack of a tripod mount on the bottom. Unfortunately, because the USB-C port is there, and also I suspect because the device body is almost probably entirely consumed by the battery, means that there isn't room. However, I do feel that the sacrifice of extending that body by just a centimetre and introducing a little bit of extra weight would be well worthwhile. Let's hope that the Osmo Pocket 2 introduces that, and also that some third-party accessory manufacturers will develop some extra cap that you can just put on the bottom and add a tripod mount. Next is a bit of a strange one, and I don't quite understand this myself, but FACETRACK and ActiveTrack are not available in 4K 60 FPS. I don't understand why not, unless it's because of the amount of processing that's being put onto this tiny little device, but I for sure would love to be able to use forward-facing selfie FACETRACK in 4K at 60 frames per second. I can't at the moment. When using the Osmo Pocket for prolonged periods of time, it does get quite warm, and I wonder if that's the reason behind that, and also the initial removal of the slow motion feature. And finally, the big one, a fixed battery. For some reason, many reviewers are comparing the Osmo Pocket with the Hero 7, and no doubt the Hero 7 is a great device, but they're both designed for different purposes. They have completely different form factors. Clearly, the GoPro is far better designed for anything where it's going to be thrown around or potentially damaged, because this has a mechanical gimbal. It's far more delicate, but the reality of all the tests that you'll find on the internet is that this does give much more superior stabilization. The Osmo Pocket's battery is fixed and it's internal and it can't be easily replaced. However, you can plug it into a USB power bank and it charges whilst you're still using it. But more importantly, you do get around 2 hours use out of this. And I must say, in my month's worth of testing, at no point have I ran out of battery. The other concern, of course, is that after using the device for a year or so, the battery might start to degrade. However, I suspect that DJI will introduce a scheme to replace the battery, or third-party vendors or manufacturers will. So anyway, they're my gripes with the Osmo Pocket and also my wish list for the Osmo Pocket 2. Hopefully you found this video useful. If so, give it a thumbs up and comment below. Also, if you want to buy an Osmo Pocket, click that link in the video description as that supports our channel. Finally, if you enjoy our content, click that subscribe button. And by the way, this is being shot right now on the Osmo Pocket.